the Bose-Einstein condensate, with its magical properties of quantum entanglement and supersymmetry, allow it to get to a point where it is in perfect symmetry, the symmetry of a cross. And from that symmetrical state, there is something that magical. What is magical is every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So the point being is that there's a laziness within quantum physics, and the laziness is prior to measurement. So before measuring anything, it can be anything and everything, right? It's only after measurement that the state is actually determined. So being a conscious observer, if we decide not to measure, then we get to at least play the mind game of what does it look like prior to measurement. And it's from that perspective, well, it was actually in harmony, in supersymmetry, but not only in a symmetry state of a cross, but a symmetry state of inversion, where every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So there was that playing in the background, as well as the concept of oneness, of unity, and the concept of, well, let's look at the numbers in the current scientific model, physics model, for electrons, protons, and neutrons. So the electron has a charge of -1 and has a very small mass. The proton is made of 3 quarks, 2 up, 1 down, and it's given a charge of +1. Current scientific model suggests that the quarks pointing up are 2/3 and the quark pointing down is -1/3. So that's the assignment based on adding the quarks together. The neutron, 0 charge, but the quarks are 2 down, 1 up. And so again added those -1/3, -1/3, and 2/3 together to get 0. So that is the current standard model of physics that is being used, which I believe is incorrect. So I thought about it and I went, okay, what if I multiply and I make my quark pointing up -1 and my quark pointed down +1? So if I do that, then I get -1 times 1 times -1 is +1. So I've got +1 for my proton as a charge. So that makes sense. But then my neutron is 1 times -1 times 1, which is -1. So I have a -1 neutron. So how can I get 0 charge on my -1 neutron if I have, I have the wrong charge, right? So you would dismiss the model outright and go, no, that's very, very incorrect compared to what we're observing of +1 on a proton, 0 on a neutron. However, if you actually look at the masses of an electron and the masses of a proton and a neutron, so protons and neutrons are interchangeable through beta plus, beta minus radioactive decay. There's also something known as K plus, or electron capture. So the interchange of protons and neutrons and the emission of positrons means that actually the mass of a neutron, which is larger than the mass of a proton, could be accounted for by the presence of a positron, or the antiparticle to the electron within the actual model itself. So the added mass of the neutron that is present within an atom is actually accounted for by the addition of an additional electron, and the inside surface properties of that electron being positive charge, giving us the positron. So I changed the concepts of adding to multiplication. And all of a sudden, I started to get a different model that made sense. A model where there is a symmetry of plus and minus that is inbuilt into the structure of an atom itself. And from that geometry of opposites, I started to see something very, very interesting. So helium considered to have 2 protons, 2 neutrons, 2 electrons. If we then add the 2 positrons for every 2 neutrons that are present in helium, all of a sudden you get a different model. Okay, so you have a cross-base symmetry within helium itself. As a Bose-Einstein condensate, that geometry starts to look very, very interesting.